Hello YouTube, this is my second review posted on here. I only posted my last review on my first ever vlog or review of Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album. I wanted to get this one out there while it's still fresh in my mind and while I've had so many listens to this. I think I've listened to this album now about a good 60-70 times, I'd say. As with any album by Dillinger Escape Plan, you have to listen to it a few times to get the gist of the record. So the record I'm talking about is the new Dillinger Escape Plan LP, One of Us is the Killer. One of Us is the Killer is the follow-up to 2010's Option Paralysis. And in many ways Dillinger hasn't really changed on this record, and that's not saying it's a bad thing. There's still a real amount of spastic tracks, as they are called on here, as opposed to accessible tracks, because after all Dillinger are known as a mathcore band, which orientates around very complex time signatures with a lot of emphasis on jazz music, and this does come through on this actually. The thing that I think One of Us is the Killer does well, or why I enjoyed it so much, is how cohesive it is. That's not to say that Option Paralysis wasn't cohesive in itself, because it was a very good record. I still think that Option Paralysis is probably a better record than this if you're going to compare it to that, but I don't really think they should have comparisons. Straight from the offset, when you get into track one, Prancer, it's your typical Dillinger Escape Plan song. You know, it's all over the place. The drum, the new drummer on this record, he brings a lot to the table, as you would expect from a Dillinger Escape Plan drummer. But yeah, Prancer, it was the first single released, and when it was actually released, I listened to it, and it didn't really do much for me. I don't understand why, and I can understand why people would be like, well, how can it not do anything for you? It's a typical Dillinger Escape Plan track. It's fast, it's aggressive, it's cutthroat, it's constantly changing pace, it's all over the place, like I said. And then once I gave it a few more listens, I was like, well, okay, yeah, this is growing a bit more. I can see, you know, why I should like this track as opposed to why I shouldn't. It's a bit strange, but like I said before at the start of the review, that Dillinger Escape Plan is a band that will take a long time. If you are a listener, perhaps a new listener to Dillinger Escape Plan, it probably will take you a few listens to actually get into the music. So if you are new to Dillinger Escape Plan, then I wouldn't advise giving it one spin and then having done with it, because you probably won't get what the album is going for, so to speak. The thing that I really like about this album is Greg Pisciatto, or Pisciatto, however you pronounce his name. I always pronounce his second name wrong, but his vocal performance on this record is really, I don't know the word to describe it. It's very abrasive a performance, but his cleans on this as well, his clean vocals, have gotten so much better from Option Paralysis. I thought his vocals on Option Paralysis were fine, they were still good, but on tracks, sometimes on Farewell Mona Lisa, the first single to be released from Option Paralysis, his vocals could grate on me a little bit. They didn't really rub me the right way, so to speak, but yeah, on here he's great. I mean, take for example the title track. How this is a great example of how his cleans have improved. When you hit that chorus, his vocals just soar really nicely over the top of the guitars and over the top of the instrumentation to create something with like a pretty epic feel, to be honest. You know, it's the title track on here is probably Dillinger's most accessible track they've ever put out. It's one of the better tracks on here, in fact, and I didn't think I'd find myself saying that an accessible track from Dillinger would be one of the best on here, except that obviously Milk Lizard on Higher Works is probably the best track on there, but we'll, you know, not to contradict myself on that one. But like I said about Prancer, good start to the album. Then it leads into the second track, When I Lost My Bet, which was the second single released off this, and it was the same with Prancer. At first I didn't really feel it that much, and then after a few listens I was like, yeah, this is great. And them two back to back are the perfect way to start off this album. You know what you're getting straight from the start. You're getting abrasive, complex, really going for the jugular type of music. And then obviously you come into track 3, which I've already explained, the title track, fantastic, accessible, really well performed still, even though the band cuts back on many of the moments they have on here. And then it goes into Hero of the Soviet Union, the 4th track. There's not much really you can say apart from it's a spastic track. It's similar to When I Lost My Bets and Prancer kind of tracks, but it has a really furious outro on that one, and as do a lot of the tracks on this record actually. And then we're on to Nothing's Funny, which is similar to One of Us Is the Killer, but this has got a really good hook on it. It's got a really nice hook, and I think that is a very good track also. And then we're on to Understanding Decay. Now, this is where people, if you're new to Dillinger and you're going to listen to this record, this is where you might be a bit like, it's getting all a bit too samey now with these spastic tracks. You know, the person who doesn't listen to Dillinger, you just think this is the same screechy guitar that I've been getting for the past, few tracks. Obviously, don't count Nothing's Funny in the title track. I mean, like When I Lost My Bet, Here the Soviet Union, Prancer. That's what you're getting. But as I said, with repeated listens, this grows on you. It's such a grower. And as with any other Dillinger Escape Plan record. But you're gonna run, you run through the rest of the tracks. They're all fantastic in their own right. The only track on here that I felt was didn't do much for me is the instrumental track. I'm not going to even bother reading out the title because I'll be here forever. But it seemed more of like I don't know, like more of an idea kind of thing than an actual track. The closer on here is decent too, but I really wish that it didn't give me much closure on the record. I thought maybe they'd go for more experimental number like off Ironworks with the Mouth of Ghost closer. But still, this record is, even though that some people, and I've seen other reviewers say it, it is Dillinger by the numbers kind of thing, but it's still a solid record with solid instrumentation, a fantastic vocal performance. And if I'm gonna, introduce a rating system, I'd probably give this about between a 7.5 and 8 out of 10. It's a great addition to the Dillinger Escape Plan discography, and it's be very interesting to see where they go from here. But yeah, thanks for watching on this one. This one turned out to be quite a long video. Hopefully you weren't bored. I certainly wasn't bored talking about this. It's probably one of my favourite releases of this year. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another one pretty soon, hopefully. So yeah, thanks very much.